Next thing I got to do is figure out where I'm going to find me some decent tinder and some more wood. It rained to beat the band, big thunderstorm, dropped a few inches of rain in a very short period of time, so everything is soaked. I got my coyote haversack with me to pick up whatever I need. So I think we're going to go on the other side of the lake where there's some material up on the field that might work for me. Okay guys, I know I'm not in the shot, but I went out, as I told you, I was going to look for something dry, for some tinder and some kindling and etc, etc, etc. Thought I was going to hit a big zero. Found a pine grove that was really had a great canopy over it, so I did find some pretty dry pine cones. But I picked this up along the lake here, and this is just lake reed. And there is you see that just come off like that? I hope you saw that. But the outside layer of this is the first thing to dry. And the inside, you know, it might be a little tube or whatever. So if you ever need a straw, they're good for straws. But in order to use these reeds, you've got to strip off the outer bark, make sure that it's dry. That's the first thing, you know, because everything is wet now. So just if you're ever in the position where you have to start a fire right after it rained or even during the rain, it can be done with the right materials and with the right techniques. So that's just what I wanted to show you there, okay? So I'm going to put that off to the side, and I got several of these pine cones. Those are going to be a big help. But now what you have got to do is get your fire lay up off of the grass. And the way I do that is I just make these. Where's that coming from? Okay. Just get these off the ground a little bit, and they don't have to be bone dry, because this isn't what you're burning. See, that one's still pretty green. I'm going to throw that off to the side. There's some other ones that I could use. Right here. There you go, bud. There. And what this does, it gives the fire an opportunity to breathe a little bit better. And then the next thing that I like to do is, this is a little bit long, but I'm going to create a triangle. Like so. There, and then this one will be this long right here, right, and then this one will go up underneath, and you'll be able to see what I'm going to do with this here as I go, right. So now we got to think ahead. The mentality has got to be, what's the next step? You know, especially in a rainy situation. You start out with your fire, lead pencil size tinder, okay, like this, small stuff, and then pencil size, then finger size, and you work up to wrist size, and you stay away from this until you're way down the road, okay? This is way too big. You know, I just brought that there for a little show and tell. I picked up a few things while I was out, so I'm going to go ahead and shut off the camera and get you ready to be able to see the next step on how to process wood, because you just can't break it up and throw it in there because it's all wet. I'm going to process this down, and I've got it all tightened up in here. Yeah, I found me a cut-off log too, great for sitting down. So I'm going to sit this down. Don't really want to put it on the wet ground, so got some leaves there. Let me just show you how I do this here. The first thing that I do is make sure that I strip all this off, as much of it as I can, right? I'm going to get piles of that, so I'm going to stick this over on my rock, and then I will continue to do this You see that? It's coming apart there. So I'm going to add that to that pile. Along with this. This one here is a little bit gnarly, but it will burn. One of the things that you can do is when you're out gathering tinder and fuel for your fire in a... Gee, what is that? In an adverse situation is put the tinder up against your body. You know, if you got an outer shirt, put it between your outer shirt and your t-shirt. You know, situations sometimes merit where you got to put it up against your skin. You know, don't be so queasy. Here's a little bit more of that. And it'll help to evaporate all the water or the amount that it is going to be left in there that will hinder your fire. Your body heat will evaporate. Okay, so we got a pile of this stuff here right now. And what I'm going to do is just show you a little bit here, then breaking down those fibers using the pole on the axe, smashing them down. You're opening them up. I'm going to turn it around and do this side. Okay, so I'm going to get off here and continue to do this step before I do the next step. Next step is after you've got your bird's nest all ready to go. You know, this is what we did. I went ahead and pulverized this to the place where there's a lot of air displacement going through it. It's pretty dry, so I'm confident that's going to work. But when you're talking about adding your tinder now, you have got to take off all the wet bark. I mean, it's been raining here, so I got to go get all this wet bark off of here. And yeah, it takes a while, but if you are in a survival situation, you might only have one shot at what you're doing. You know, so I go ahead and take this off, take the time, and the wood is dry under there. So I'm going to go ahead and process this, and when I get ready for the next step, we'll be back. All that stuff taken care of. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this hairy bundle down in the middle of that triangle right there. It's off the ground, and hopefully it'll have enough mojo there to ignite. Put a couple pine cones in, just along the sides there. I got all my stuff to the ready here. Alright. Hang tight. Here's what we're going to do now. We're going to try to get this thing to strike without disturbing too much. That's awful wet. There he goes. Get this pine cone going as well. Come on, Bubba. It's wanting to burn. We'll try it again. Let's try them. magic going on right there. Pine cone. Get a couple more of those in there. Alright, the reason I got that triangle like that, so I can lift this up, give a little oxygen in there. Pine cones are your friend. These happen to have a little more moisture in them than what I counted on. Now we can start adding the bigger stuff. Alright, we got fire. Okay, now that you got your fire established here, what you can do now with this bark is really wet and it's wet wood. What you can do is set this by your fire without putting it in the fire, and more than likely by the time that you need to add more, this is going to be dry. It's going to be ready. So don't be afraid to hold on to it. Don't throw it away, whatever you do. Don't discard it. See, this stuff is real wet here, but it's going to help me out. This isn't so bad, but it's... And see, once you do establish your fire, I mean, it's going to evaporate a lot of the moisture that's in that fuel. Alright guys, I think it's safe to say that we're established. Whatever might be wet is getting dried out up against the fire like this right here. I did find me a couple more pieces for a little bit later on tonight. It's not going to be cold night to where I need to keep a fire going. I'm going to let these coals burn down. Nice bed of white coals, and then I'm going to cook me something to eat.